So in the first video, I talked about how to make a winning fantasy football team. In this video, I'll give 3 players who are flying under the radar and could be solid fantasy players, and 3 players who you might want to think twice about taking. First, I'm going to start with the sleepers. My first sleeper is Joseph Randle, running back from the Dallas Cowboys. He didn't get a lot of touches in 2014 because of how well DeMarco Murray ran the ball. But with Murray leaving for Philadelphia, he's going to get most of the carries, and last year he finished with 343 yards and 3 touchdowns. With Dallas's offensive line, he could put up some big numbers. My number 2 sleeper, Jameis Winston, quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even though Jameis is only a rookie and he didn't look great in his first preseason game, he has the skill set to get the job done and potentially put up big numbers. And he's got some weapons to work with on offense, including Vincent Jackson, Mike Evans, and Doug Martin. My final sleeper is Charles Johnson, wide receiver from the Minnesota Vikings. Johnson emerged as the Vikings' greatest threat on offense and finished the last 7 games of the season with 70 receiving yards. With all eyes focused on Adrian Peterson in the backfield, Charles Johnson could have a breakout year. Now let's look at guys who you should try to avoid in the draft. Bust number 1, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, when healthy, is one of the best players in the NFL. But that's the question. Can he or can he not stay healthy? If he's not healthy, he's not worth the risk of using a top draft pick. We saw what happened in the playoff game against the Colts. That's a possible indication of what could happen to Peyton this year. My number 2 bust, Drew Brees. Since the Saints traded his number 1 target, Jimmy Graham, to the Seahawks, Brees doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to. Marcus Colston's injured. Brandon Cook is a good player, but he doesn't have the talent like Colston or Jimmy Graham for that matter. So it's going to be pretty difficult for Brees to put up big fantasy numbers like he's done in previous seasons. My final fantasy bust pick is Brandon Marshall. He doesn't have a quarterback that could throw him the ball. Bryce Petty needs time to develop, and Ryan Fitzpatrick and Geno Smith are below average quarterbacks. Jay Cutler looks like a Hall of Fame quarterback compared to the Jets quarterbacks, and Cutler couldn't even get Marshall the ball at all last season. So don't be surprised if Brandon Marshall's numbers drop significantly. Well, I've given you all the help I can give. Now it's up to you, the fantasy owners, to go out and make the right picks. Class is dismissed.